Robert Heffernan with Endotech, content provider of the Pareto Network and Endotech subscribers. This is Blockchain Vitals. It's our daily show talking cryptocurrencies, blockchain assets. Let's do the rounds. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to fire on this one today. All right, doing the rounds. I do it every day. Today is all about headlines for me. And pulling headlines from CCN, Cryptocurrency Network. And there's two headlines that I about flipped my lid on. All right. And let's talk about it. The first one says Bitcoin's fair market price is $14,800, says cryptocurrency bull Tom Lee. Excuse me, Tom. I'm pretty sure the fair market value is $38.39.80 last at Bitfinex, or at Bitstamp $37.11.49. See, they know this fair thing, and the market establishes what is fair by a bid and an offer, and there's a price differential there because of the U.S. dollar tether. Actually, the U.S. dollar tether now trading premium to the U.S. dollar. Crazy. Anyway, there's a lot of metrics that go on in a market, right, that establishes fair market price. So why don't you take your $1,400 or $14,800 estimation of fair market value for Bitcoin and stick it where the sun don't shine, because that isn't the fair market value. The fair market value is $38.39.80. Let me ask you this, Tom. On the way down from 20,000, well, first of all, at 20,000, I'm assuming you thought that was fair market value. And if I had listened to you when it was around maybe 10,000, 11,000, and you said it was going to go to 20,000 by the end of the year because that was fair market value according to you then, I'm really sucking on high titty listening to you. Maybe I shouldn't listen to you. Maybe you don't know what you're talking about when it comes to fair market value, because the fair market value is $38.39.80 at Bitfinex. That's what a bidder is bidding. I mean, there's a market. There's a bid and an offer, no matter what you say. You know, and on the same page on CCN, the next article down, let's talk about it, is Bitcoin price will crash to zero, says Calvin Ayre. Calvin, is zero the fair market value? Or you just think that's where it's going? And if it's going to zero, why don't you short it, man? Sell it. You can make 38. They're giving you something. They're giving you $3,800 for something that's worth nothing. Why wouldn't you do that all day long? It just bugs the hell out of me when I hear these, because the market, you know what the fair market value is? Whatever is last. Now, the long-term value might be something different, right? But the fair market value is right now what somebody will buy or sell it for. That's the fair market value. And for me, the fundamental analysis that both these guys are doing is so flawed in that there is so much information out there that you can't quantify and pull into your fundamental analysis that it makes it really, really difficult to predict the price fundamentally. I'm reminded of the book, The Black Swan, by Nicholas Taleb. He talks about black swans and outliers, and that the market does a horrible job of predicting outliers, and they're always out there because there's so much information that you cannot possibly pull it all together in a fundamental analytical tool. Not only because there's so much information, because everything is in flux. Everything is always changing. Right? There's more information. There's more players. Somebody lives, somebody dies. It affects the price. There is so much information. And in the Black Swan, they talk about a pool table and a pool shot and the geometry and the things you need to figure out to take your cue ball, hit a ball, and hit it into a pocket, right? Pretty simple. They can do the math. It's straightforward. As soon as you go to a combination, a 2 to the 8 to the pocket, it gets a lot more complicated math-wise. There's a lot more things that are involved. Now you got two balls. You got more table to worry about because there's two different angles. and then now you go to 3 balls. And once you go to a 4 or 5 ball combination, I forget what it was, the amount that it takes to figure that out, you're going to have to take in all the particles in the universe to figure it out. What I'm trying to tell you that there's so much information that ultimately decides the value of something. The only thing that you can really do, as far as I'm concerned, is be a technician, man. Watch the chicken scratches. It's going to tell you right now it's in momentum. These things have found momentum. So Tom Lee, I'm cheering for your $14,800 level because I'm long, right? But that's not the fair market price. Right now, the fair market price, hold on, let's go back to it because I want to give accurate information. It's 38.38 even. I think it was 38.38.30 before, a little bit lower. More of the Calvin Air direction right now. Anyway, it just drives me bananas when I see these things. All right, and then the last thing on the news was the headline that said, new U.S. Chief of Staff, Bitcoin is good, not manipulable by any government. You know, when the Chief of Staff of the President of the United States of America is saying something positive about a digital asset, now I got to tell you something. This goes back to this spring at Consensus when the Fed governor for St. Louis said that the Fed had no problem with digital assets and different forms of money. They're not really afraid that the U.S. dollar is going to get superseded by Bitcoin or any digital asset, digital currency anytime soon. In fact, throughout history, there's been multiple forms of money and currency. Let's call it currency. So I'm gonna pretty much put my hat on the technicals, and especially since I love the idea of a fair playing field, and I love the idea of some regulation to make sure those things happen, and I love the idea of the U.S. government being friendly on a decentralized digital ledger currency. I think those things are all great. You know what? Let's take the vitals and talk about the real price action, the discoverable fair market price for some of these assets. All right, taking the vitals. I do it every day. That Bitcoin. We're talking XRP all week this week, and talking about its price action. I got to tell you, a bunch of these things put in a fairly perfect hammer. And not necessarily a doji hammer from the way I look at these things, because we haven't had a real long run in this daily fractal for me to say that's the top or a bottom of a movement. Now, it is a bearish candle for sure if it's red. XRP's got a red hammer candle. Bitcoin's got a green hammer candle. But in particular, since this is now XRP, it's a 4th day in a row in up mo. I'm not so sure that that's a reversal candle, although I will pay attention to it. And for me, it's real simple. You got to mind the mo here, right? Mind the mo, 33.87 on the daily. If we get a close below 33.87, most of the time a close below is the warning shot over the bow. And then if we take out that day's low, for sure, I am out and not sitting around waiting to tell stories fireside about how everything could have been different had I just minded the mo. All right, so that's it. And going forward here, we're still looking on strength to trade 42.12, that weekly center line. And what was the actual high today? They didn't quite get there. On Bitfinex, it was 39.43. So still some wood to chop to get to that weekly. And for me, that's the longer term price point and price area where I want to see how these things develop around that level. First time up there, great place to take profits, and I will definitely take profits first time to 42.12. I have XRP, and I will look to that level to lighten up and reestablish on a momentum, a pullback to a momentum level. I love playing them that way. All right, and on extra strength, let's talk extra strength, 49.97 up mo on the weekly, and room to 65.68 up mo collar on that weekly fractal. And if we can hold these momentum levels and continue this march, I really think that's where we go to longer term here, maybe by the end of the year. All right, listen, I'm going to say goodbye to the YouTube crowd, and we will continue with the vitals. In order to have all of the information, please subscribe at endotech.io. All right?